15th of March, plans were drawn up for an attack on My Lai, believed by intelligence to be the HQ of a Viet Cong battalion. Charlie Company was to mount the main attack, and fierce battle was anticipated. The attack on My Lai started just after 7 o'clock in the morning. It was a Saturday. According to intelligence, all civilians would have gone to market. Anyone still in the village would be Viet Cong. But intelligence was wrong.
This is my life. This is my past, this is my present, this is my future. And I keep it, to remind me. But it's always there. This is it, this is my life. This is everything. This is the way I am. This is what made me this way.
Let's go, let's go.
The transition from civilian to soldier is a very distinct and very rigorous training. Soldiers are taught all the things that they need to know about being a good soldier in those very early days and weeks in basic training.
Let's go. You all look like you're tired. Are you tired? No,
They are taught how to use weapons to kill. They are taught how to drill, how to march with weapons.
Get that weapon up.
All of these drills and different maneuvers are carried out by orders. He wanted soldiers highly motivated. His way of motivating them was to have a response, a command and response from the soldiers. And he would say, what is the spirit of the bayonet? And to kill, Sergeant, to kill. What is the spirit of the bayonet? To kill. So soldiers were motivated along these lines.
What is the spirit of the bayonet? Kill, kill, kill! With the gold blues, kill!
And that would be their response. And he would drill them into a state of readiness. And he would just inspire them through his speaking and through his talking and through his teaching of what the spirit was. As one of the sergeants who trained the men of Charlie Company, I was very pleased with the way they turned out. They turned out to be very good soldiers.
A lot of times when we were first in country, we would go to the villages up and down the highway, Highway 1. You'd play with the kids in between pulling guard duty. But you'd always take them stuff, candy, pop, take pictures with them, GIs with the kids. You got to meet a lot of people.
There was no one else but us. We were in this company, in this place, all alone. We had a company of men that all came from one country, all came from the same culture, and we would drop 10,000 miles away, and we felt close that way because there was nobody else to feel close to.
When we first started losing members of the company, it was mostly through booby traps and snipers. We never really got into a main conflict per se where you could see who was shooting at you and you could actually shoot back them one-on-one. Booby traps was the main problem.
I've seen the enemy, yes. But who is the enemy? We had little kids over there that would shoot you or stab you in the back when you walk away. Who's the enemy? How can you distinguish between the enemy, the good or the bad? All of them look the same. That's the reason the war was so different. It wasn't like Germans over here or Japanese over there. They all look like North and the South. So how can you tell?
When I saw American soldiers committing acts that would be called atrocities if somebody else had done them, I began to think that maybe I was wrong. Maybe I had been just too naive all my life, that this was the way things really were. I tried not to think like that. I tried to keep my own values together, but it wasn't easy. little by little, I began to see that this group of men was getting out of control.
The understanding or the order that was given was to kill everybody in the village. Someone asked if that meant the women and children, and the order was everyone in the village, because those people that were in the village, the women, the kids, the old men, were VC, and they were Viet Cong themselves, or they were sympathetic to the Viet Cong. They were not sympathetic to the South Vietnamese army, and they weren't sympathetic to the Americans. They weren't giving us any assistance. They weren't helping us in the war effort whatsoever.
My understanding was we were going in, we were going to get into one hell of a fight, and we were going to kick some ass when we got done. And there wasn't going to be anybody left.
I was 19 when I went to Vietnam. I was a rifleman specialist, 4th class. I was trained to kill, but the reality of killing someone is different from training and pulling the trigger. But I didn't know it, that I was going to do that. I knew the women and children was there, but for me to say that I was going to kill them, I didn't know I was going to do that until it happened. I didn't know I was going to kill anyone. I didn't want to kill anyone. I wasn't raised up to kill. She was running with her back from a tree line, but she was carrying something. I didn't know if it was a weapon or what, but it was a woman. You know, I knew it was a woman. I didn't want to shoot a woman, you know, but I was given an order to shoot. So I'm thinking that she had a weapon running, so when I shot and I turned over, it was a baby. You know, shot about 4 times, 3 or 4 times. And the bullet just went through and shot the baby too, you know. And I turned over and I saw the baby face where it was half gone. You know? And I just blinked. I just went. The training came to me, the programming to kill. And I just started killing. That day in my life, I was personally responsible for killing between 20 and 25 people, about 25 people, personally. I just went. My mind just went. I wasn't the only one that did it. A lot of other people did it. So I just followed suit. I just lost all sense of direction, of purpose. I just started killing any kind of way I could kill. It just came. I didn't know I had it in me. But like I said, after I killed the child, my whole mind just went. It just went. And once you start, it's very easy to keep on. Once you start. The hardest part is to kill, but once you kill, that's become easier to kill the next person and the next one and the next one. Because I had no feelings or no emotions or no nothing, no direction, I just killed. Man, the child, the woman, and the baby. Because this is my life. This is my life. Even if I don't open a book, I see it. In my nightmares. If I never open this book, it's still there.
The most disturbing thing I saw was one boy. And this was something that, you know, this is what haunts me from the whole ordeal down there. There was a boy with his arm shot up, half hanging on. And he just had this bewildered look in his face, and I'm like, what did I do? What's wrong? He was just, you know, it's hard to describe. Couldn't comprehend. I shot the boy, killed him. And I'd like to think of it more or less as a mercy killing because somebody else would have killed him in the end. But it wasn't right.
As a professional soldier, I had been taught to carry out the orders, and in no time it ever crossed my mind to disobey or to refuse to carry out an order that was issued by my superiors. If one of my men had refused to shoot, I shudder to think what have been the repercussions, because it's hard to say now what I would have done, looking back. At the time that it actually, when it happened, he would have been in serious trouble. He could have faced court-martial. He could have been shot on the spot for refusing an order in face of the enemy, in face of hostile fire. Someone refuses to carry out an order, he's in trouble. At the time, we didn't realize that there was no hostile fire at the time. I feel that they were able to carry out the assigned task, the orders. That meant killing small kids, killing women, because they were soldiers. They were trained that way. They was trained that when you get into combat, it's either you or the enemy. And they were the people that were in that village, the women, the little kids, the old men, were all considered the enemy. I feel that we carried out the orders in a moral fashion, and the orders of destroying the village, of killing the people in the village. I feel that we carried out our orders, and I feel that we did not violate any moral standards.
Lieutenant Kelly ordered certain people to shoot these people, and I was one of them, and I refused. And he told me that he was going to have me a court-martial when we got back to base camp. And I told him what was on my mind at the time. Ordering me to shoot down innocent people, that's not an order. That's craziness to me, you know? And so I don't feel like I have to obey that. And if you want to court-martial me, you do that. If you can get away with it. I feel like it was horrible, you know, just a terrible thing to be going on, and American boys doing this, you know? And I feel like I'm a red-blooded American boy, just like any of the rest of the guys that was there, you know? And to see that, I'm talking about black or white, you know, black and white guys doing this, you know? It didn't make any difference. I'm saying it just seemed like a horrible thing. I'm talking, we all came from the same place. To me, you know, we all came from the same place, and I know they all had to have the same values that I had somewhere along the line. If they didn't get it in school, they had to get it in religion, church, or someplace, you know. If you didn't go to school, you know, you could pick it up from a stranger, you know. It's just simple, you know. But then to go and do something like this, it's immoral to me, you know. That's just the way I feel about it.
I happened upon a group of GIs surrounding these people. And one of the American GIs yelled out, "Hey, he's got a camera." So they kind of all dispersed just a little bit, and I came up on them, and looking at the photograph, I noticed the one girl was kind of frantic, and an older woman trying to protect a small child. And the older woman in front was just, you know, kind of pleading, trying to beg, you know, begging and that. And the other person, that woman was buttoning her blouse and holding a small baby. Okay, I took the photograph. I thought they were going to question the people. But just as soon as I turned and walked away, I heard firing. I looked around over the corner of my shoulder. I saw the people drop. I just kept on walking.
During the mission as it was going on, we kept just reconning around. Started seeing a lot of bodies. It didn't add up, you know, how all these people were getting killed and wounded, and we weren't receiving any fire. Just, you know, it didn't make sense. There was too many casualties there. And how they were, the locations they were in, you know, figured out artillery couldn't do this. Because there were, you know, bodies in places the artillery didn't hit, trying to get out of the village.
Warrant Officer Thompson was desperate to get these civilians, what he believed to be civilians, out of this bunker and into a safe area. He'd seen beforehand that what he was trying to do to help the people on the ground wasn't getting done. He was convinced that the ground forces would kill these people if he couldn't get to them first. He landed the aircraft in between the American forces and the Vietnamese people in the bunker. Got out of the aircraft, had us get out of the aircraft with our weapons to cover him, and he went and had words with the lieutenant on the ground. He asked the lieutenant how he could get these people out of the bunker. The lieutenant said the only way he knew was with hand grenades. So when Warrant Officer Thompson came back to the aircraft, he was furious, and he was desperate to get these people out of the bunker. He told us he was going over to the bunker himself to see if he could get them out. I don't even think he took a rifle with him. I think he was, besides a sidearm, he was relatively unarmed. He told us if the Americans were to open fire on these Vietnamese as he was getting them out of the bunker, that we should return fire on the Americans.
When I did instruct my crew chief and gunner, you know, to open up on them if they open up on any more civilians, I don't know how I'd have felt if they would have opened up on them. But that particular day, I wouldn't have given it a second thought.
At the time, it was just, you know, capturing a reaction. But when you look at it later on in life, you know now these people are dead. They were shot. Just kind of an eerie type feeling that it goes, you know, goes through your whole body. And you think back, could I have prevented this? How could I have prevented this?